If your sales team has a massive follow-up list and you're still missing revenue targets, the problem definitely is not the leads, it's not the traffic, it's not even the ad spend or your reps. The reality is your pipeline is clogged. So today I'm going to show you actually how to clean it out, how to pull cash from deals that you've already spent money on using a system that almost no B2B companies are running right now. What is going on, guys? My name is Magnor, and I've built and scaled multiple B2B companies to $500,000 to $1 million per month. So what I'm showing you today is not theory, it's actually strategies that have worked time in and time in. So let's get into it. So the reality is most pipelines don't die, they simply stall because prospects get busy and timing gets pushed. And most sales teams, all they do is they do one follow-up with one lead at a time for months. And that's not strategy, that's just pipeline decay. And what you actually need is a forced decision moment. And most sales pipelines, they're not empty, they're simply just stuck. And every day that you don't force a decision, deals are quietly rotting. Not because the prospect said no, but because you never gave them a reason to say yes or no. Because sales at the end of the day is just forcing a decision. Now, what a pipe cleaning event actually is it's scheduled high urgency moment where your entire sales team focuses on closing specifically existing opportunities instead of chasing new ones. And this is not lead generation, brand awareness, or nurturing content. This is revenue extraction. You're not convincing cold leads. You're simply finishing deals that already moved. So here's the structure. You're gonna pick one day and you're gonna host one live event. You could host a Q&A, a walkthrough, or an implementation call. And you're gonna go out and invite every single opportunity in your pipeline. And the message is simple. Hey, we're hosting a live Q&A on this date. We're gonna cover common questions, implementation details, and next steps. I know you had a question about this specifically on our last call last week. So the owner is gonna go out and actually be able to answer that for you one-on-one. So there's no pressure, no gimmicks, and definitely no scarcity tactics. It's just a real reason to engage. Now, a pipe cleaning event works because sales don't stall because people aren't interested. It typically just stalls because there's no decision moment. And when you create a shared deadline, deals move. Not because they were pushed, but simply because you led. Now, who runs the pipe cleaning event? And this matters a whole lot. The event should be hosted by the business owner, the CEO, or the most senior authority in the company. Because authority accelerates trust. Sales reps are not going to be able to host this. They're just going to support it. And the host's role is to reinforce belief, answer actual objections, anchor value, and create certainty. And the reps are going to handle personal follow-ups, objection handling, and actual closing logistics. Now, how often should you run a pipe cleaning event? Maximum once per month, minimum once per quarter. And the reason, because urgency only works if it's rare. This is leverage, not busy work. The last thing you want to do is do it every single week because your prospects are going to say, oh, well, I'll just hop on next week's call. And that's just not going to work. They're going to constantly give you objections. You want to make it extremely rare. And with the pipe cleaning event, 1 hour of a founder's time can actually unlock hundreds of thousands in your pipeline. Not by selling harder, but simply by showing up at the exact moment that decisions get made. Now, how do we re-engage the pipeline properly? And this is where most teams are going to screw it up. You don't go out and send desperate follow-ups or, hey, just checking in emails or long explanations. You simply send context. You're going to have neutral, calm, and decision-oriented messages. For example, hey, we're hosting a short live session to answer remaining questions. I know you wanted to go over X, Y, and Z. I know this is still on your radar. This is going to help you get more clarity on next steps. And that framing removes pressure and ultimately restores momentum. Now, what are you going to cover as a business owner during this event? You're going to keep it tight and you're going to answer who this is for, the core problem that you guys solve, how implementation of your product actually works, and then common objections and clear next steps. There's no overselling, and the goal is clarity, not hype. Because at this point, you already have a bunch of leads that filled out your marketing and already talked to sales. You need to just push them over to the finish line. And in reality, in the pipe cleaning events, the webinar or the live Q&A session, it doesn't close the deal. It simply removes friction and gets your foot in the door. After that, sales is going to close once they're clear, not before that. Now, what happens after the pipe cleaning event? This is where the money is. Immediately after, reps are going to follow up with attendees, follow up with no-shows, and ultimately push decisions. And max 24 to 72 hours, your pipeline is all cleared out, if not immediately. And this is how you turn a bloated pipeline into actual cash. Now, if you're a business owner and you have a long follow-up list, you're sitting on a bunch of revenue. Pipe cleaning events aren't about more leads. They're simply about finally collecting what you already spent your money on and what your sales reps worked on. And most companies try to grow by adding value, but the best business owners extract more value from what they've already built. And pipe cleaning events ultimately create urgency without pressure. They restore authority and compress sales cycles. And this is how real B2B business owners work without having to burn out your sales reps. Because if your pipeline feels full but unpredictable, this is exactly the system that you're missing. And once you run it correctly, you'll wonder why you ever relied on endless one-on-one follow-ups in the first place. So if you are a B2B business owner and you found this helpful, like, comment, subscribe. If you're looking to scale, comment scale below, and we will go over our free scaling guide. See you guys in the next one.